Today's Wednesday, September 28th, 2022, and today we have Deepak Agrawal from Provi Foods out of Mumbai, India, sitting with us to discuss the almond market. Deepak, thank you very much for making your way all the way over here. So Deepak is a customer of ours for a long time now. Deepak, if you could just maybe explain to us what you guys do, that'd be a good place to start, I think.
So we are a relatively young company, I'll say, in the space of nut industry all over the world. Like we started in 2016. Basically started as a total commodity transaction house. We used to import from different origins around the world. Our portfolio was pulses and dry fruits. Slowly, gradually we moved primarily to dry fruits. Dry fruits is now like 90% or more of the business that we do.
Okay.
Earlier we were like importing, processing, and like being a supplier or a vendor to most of the retail brands.
Okay.
2018 onwards, we thought that retail space in India was growing like it has like all over the world, and we ventured into retail branding. Provi, P-R-O-V is like is the brand that was carved out of the company.
Yeah.
Like it stands for like protein and vitamin. That is like for what we eat, dry fruits mostly that we associate with in India, and been a good journey. 3 years on the brand side. Now we have like close to 19 SKUs, and giving you a perspective of Indian market, the overall size would be say $6 billion overall.
And that's for dry fruit.
That's dry fruits and nuts overall.
Okay.
And the branded space is close to, I think, 700 or 800 million overall. So, and growing at a very good pace, I think 25 to 30% minimum on the retail category.
Yeah.
And even the nut space has also grown by minimum 10% CAGR over the last 5 years.
That's a compound annual growth rate.
Yeah, that's a compound annual growth rate.
Okay.
Yeah. So
there's a lot there that you said. So maybe we can piece a little bit out apart. Okay.
Yeah.
So Provi has really developed into a retail brand.
Yeah.
So walk us through. You buy almonds from the almond company. Now what?
So we buy almond from the almond company. We process it and
shelling it.
Shelling it. So when I say process it, so I mean it's a simple process where you shell the almonds, you grade it, you clean it, and you pack it. And in India, almonds and like most of the nuts are sold in different bags, different categories. So the most common one right now is the general trade, which I call GT, where you sell 25 or 30 kilo bags, and which goes to a local shop, and they will then kind of brand it or sell it in loose.
Yeah.
This is the overall bigger market in India. Same for other dry fruits and nuts.
That's not what you would call organized retail, right? That's kind of wholesale kernel business that you would do. Is that right?
Yeah, that will be the wholesale kernel business. But part of it, like if it goes to one of the big retail chains, like we have like similar to Walmart in US, Costco in US, like we have like big ones are like Reliance is there, DMart is there, Metro is there.
Yeah.
That's
your organized retail.
That's the organized retail where the loose bags will also go for their own branding.
Okay. So maybe we could take a little bit of a step back. Why does India buy in-shell? Why isn't India not buying kernels?
So, I mean, two things. I think first thing, priority is like, our scorables are like everything. Any scratch on your almond is called as scoreable.
Right.
So like, we want our almonds to be really clean. Our sizing grading is, we want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I take a USJ specs kernel from US, I've done this before. And if that QC specs from your side will say 2% scorables.
Chip and scratch.
Basically.
Yeah.
It will be 2% scorables. If I do it in my way, that scorables will be 40% for me.
Right. So any blemish, chip, scratch, anything like that, India really doesn't want that. So you're also incentivized to bring in-shell with duties.
Yeah.
Right?
So second thing is duty. Basically, I think the duty on kernel is 3x of what we pay on in-shells.
Right.
So I can say that India probably eats the best looking nuts around the world.
Okay, so then how do you guys get in-shell, import in-shell, process it without having any chips and scratches? I mean, historically, we've always talked about people sitting on the floor, hand cracking it. I know it's moved on past that. So kind of walk us through your process a little bit about what you're doing there.
So our machines are smaller, a little gentler, I will say.
Okay.
We don't need the kind of throughput that California needs for its big volumes.
So you're doing 2 loads a day, maybe cracking 1 to 2 loads a day.
Maximum cracking 2 loads a day.
Okay.
You know, when you're running like 1.5 shifts.
Yeah.
And the machines are a little gentler, little smaller, and after that it goes to a grader sorter where you can grade the sizes, you can you can remove the dust from that.
Yeah.
Then after that there is a laser sorter, which is like just to reduce the manual thing.
Right.
And the last sorting, which I would say is manual sorting.
Right.
But that is like the final sorting where a lot of labor is involved. Because we kind of remove everything which is there.
Okay. So you've now brought in a kernel. It's basically as good as it could ever be.
Yeah.
And there's 2 ways to sell it. There's kind of the wholesale 50 pounds of kernels in a bag, or there's now this modern retail, we like to call it, right? Yeah. So that modern retail is about 10% maybe of the total nut and dry fruit space. Is that about right?
10%, yeah.
Okay.
8 to 10% right now.
Okay. So it's really kind of small comparative to what the total market cap is.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you maybe talk us through kind of how you see the future of India developing a little bit for the nut, specifically for almonds?
I would say overall, the growth of nuts is still on.
Right.
Per capita income has increased, the thriving middle class and everything is there. But I think, we are looking holistically on the nuts and dry fruits industry, DFN, what we call it in India.
Yeah.
On the almond side, I think, where the growth has been spectacular last 5 years. I think, I don't know, I'll not say it's capping out, but it has been subdued compared to other nuts. Mm-hmm. Like if you see walnuts growth, I think they have been the fastest in the last 4 years.
Right.
Similar thing is happening with pistachios right now.
Yeah.
Pistachios now, India is kicking on to pistachios. Almond will continue to be the king of nuts in India overall, but I think it's a mature market. The growth in percentage terms will not be that great that we have seen overall.
But you still expect growth to come from India, especially at these prices.
I think so. If you see on a 3-year average, I think the growth will be there. But if you expect if we see 5 to 10% minimum growth every year, I don't know. I mean, if we can do that, we'll be happier if we are doing that. The growth will be there for the DFN for sure.
Yeah. The 2021 crop really didn't see that big of an increase of growth from India, right? That's really coming off a 2022 crop that India grew quite healthy, right? It actually was probably what saved the 2022 crop year for California was just the fact that India took so much. The 2020 crop year, I guess I should say. And so 2021, India, I think, ended out being basically flat to the year prior.
Yeah, I think it's wrong to compare. We are comparing a year where you had close to a 40% growth year and then you will end up less than 5% flat or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think if you can do a 40% growth in 1 year and you can end up flat or minus 5% next year, I think overall you have done a fantastic job.
Yeah. So what is your expectations for this new 2022 crop year?
I think
still about that 5 to 10% growth is kind of what you were saying.
I think it's right now. It's mostly about what we have discussed, kind of inflationary issues that are kind of hurting the overall global market.
Yeah.
Lot of disposable income is going to places where earlier it was going to nuts and all.
Yeah.
I still feel overall it will still be stable. I'll be happy if we can end up at a 5% growth year overall.
It seems like India is not faced with a lot of the inflationary issues that the rest of the world is kind of faced with.
Yeah,
right?
relatively,
yes.
Better
place.
We are much better place, but that's relative. On the absolute number, our currency is still down by 7 to 8% compared to an average crop year USD INR FX that Indian importer would have paid.
Yeah,
we're still 7 to 8%, on the lower side. So if California drops by prices by 7 to 8%, we are still the same.
Right. And currency is what we're talking about everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely
we're still the best, I think.
Yeah,
overall.
still. Yeah, I mean, it's not the euro, which is down 24%, 22% for in a 12-month period. Okay, so you're still looking pretty bullish on the almond industry in California. Tell us about your biggest festivals coming up, Diwali, October 24th, I believe. Kind of walk us through what sales look like.
I'll say it's been now. Overall, what has changed in India, the highs and lows, you can call it, has kind of subdued. Now the peak highs are not relatively as high as it used to be compared to all the other months in the year. I would say now almond consumption is a throughout thing, throughout the year thing.
Right.
Similar thing, I think California must be seeing that now the buyers are normally buying throughout the year. They're not like, they like to front load it during the harvest and then they go quiet after that. So
just because that yearly consumption has really gone up so much that Diwali maybe isn't as big of an event as it used to be.
And maybe if you, I'll say, this is a new thing, maybe I'm thinking for now, right now only, if you start eating almonds daily, then it doesn't become a novelty thing during the big festival seasons.
Right.
We are eating it daily, right? So
talk to us about other varieties going into India. I know Independence and Non-Pro have predominantly been what India has chosen to buy as in-shell from California. Are there any other varieties like the Shasta, Bennett Hickman, Monterey maybe that India is going to start experimenting with? Or is India pretty much ingrained in Independence and Non-Pro?
I think Monterey can still make a way out of California to India.
Okay.
I think where we are struggling is with our cracking capacity. It is tough to bring out a clean Monterey out of that in-shell. I think we do a little bit of Australian caramel, which is little easier to crack. If California can make it on a lighter shell, bring the yields up by up to 70%. Technically, I'm saying, make it a lighter shell. I think Monterey can still make it up.
So there's other product development, I guess, that could happen.
That can happen, I think. Right now, see, like with our brand, we are seeing we are started working on quite a few, roasted and flavored things and, kind of trail mixes and all, where, the look and feel once it becomes a composite product, with 5 different things, doesn't matter that much. And I can say from my experience that I will always use Monterey for flavoring and roasting because of the overall flavor profile of that nut.
Yeah.
So I think if that industry will grow by at least 100% in the next 3 years, which is quite small today.
Talk to us about like research and development or new product development. I mean, India historically has sounded like we eat kernels. That's pretty much it. I mean, as that retail space continues to grow, is that manufactured market going to continue to grow like a blanched sliced or, in more of will almonds turn into more of an ingredient as well as a snacking item, or how do you see that pattern developing?
With Provi, we see this as a 3-stage thing, where one is the raw form, where you eat the raw kernels. Snacking types, which is the biggest market in India. The second is when you flavor it, you don't change the form, but you flavor it and you change the taste profile.
Right.
And on the third thing is when you change the form, when you can have like an almond protein thing, or you can, convert it into a bar or something. So technically you are changing the form of the commodity.
Right.
You're still not there in the changing of the form, the last stage. I think as a company also, we are trying to see what we can do. We are hiring consultants. We are talking to big companies who are on this space, who have done some research. Maybe form change will happen sooner or later.
And that could be the next kind of leg up of growth for India, is developing something more outside of the snacking category into an ingredient. Maybe that's where you say, okay, we're growing 5 to 10%. Maybe now you start seeing, 15, 20% growth because there's just new product development, different varieties of in-shell that can be shipped into India, because you don't have to be as concerned with a chip and scratch issue because it's going to be blanched or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say next 2-3 years, I would like to be conservative, if we can maintain that 40% and be plus 5% for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I would be in a happy space. But then again, we will be, it's kind of, a big high you want to make. Then you want to maintain that level and then you can prepare for another growth.
Yeah. We're always looking for growth. We're always looking for higher prices too.
I am also looking for, as a buyer, I am always looking for higher prices, but none of us can control that, right?
No, we can't, but we can do our best to promote it.
That's what we are doing. We are promoting our best.
Yeah. Well, Deepak, we really appreciate your business. Thank you for being a loyal customer, and we look forward to the future.
Same here. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you very much.